Big Ten Media Days start today. I'm going to be there, and I'm going to tell you exactly which questions I'm going to ask and what kind of information I'm going to try to find out. Locked On Illini, let's go.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to another episode of Locked On Illini. Thank you for making us your first listen every single day. We are free and available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. My name is Sunny Verma. You can find me at IlliniCast. And another place, as I said, I'm going to be at Big Ten Media Days. I'm not sure when you're going to be watching this, but I might be there as you're watching it. If you're interested in joining me for the ride, I'm going to leave a link in the description of TikTok. That's right. I'm going to be actually documenting my journey in Indianapolis on TikTok. Feel free to join me. I'm going to be updating right there at Lucas Oil Stadium. This is going to be my first experience out there. And so I've always wondered what that experience is kind of like. So this is a way for me to connect with you guys and kind of show you guys, what a credentialed media member experience once they get to the stadium. I'm excited. I hope that's something you guys are going to find interesting. If not, no big deal. Again, I'm just looking for multiple different ways to grow this community and get you guys involved and make you really feel like it's your show, because it genuinely is. Today's episode is going to be a fun one. I'm going to tell you exactly what kind of answers I'm going to seek out from Coach Bret Bielema, and also some of the other information. I'm just kind of asking different reporters and people of importance that are going to be there. I have a lot of questions in mind, and I'm going to relay to you and hopefully be able to come back with some answers. Also, Illinois makes a very key scholarship offer to a kid I'm going to be closely monitoring, and I'm going to tell you exactly why. This here episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. As playoffs wind down, the sport stops sporting like we want them to. But this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone, every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. And get started we shall. As I said, on Tuesday, Big Ten Media Days kickoff at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. And I'll be there amongst many other more established journalists. And Bret Bielema is actually going to be the first head coach that's going to be on the podium and answering questions. And there's a couple different questions that I had, not only for him, but some of the other people of importance. So what kind of questions do I have for Bret? First and foremost, I really think the key to next season is going to be the defensive side of the football. As good as it was 2 years ago, last year, it simply did not perform even to an acceptable sort of level. Obviously, you made a big change at defensive coordinator with Ryan Walters leaving to Purdue and being replaced by Aaron Henry. Well, Aaron Henry's debut as defensive coordinator just did not pan out. And at the end of last season, Bret did talk about whether they had to shift up the defense, move things around if all of a sudden maybe the league had figured their defense out. Well, what I want to do is ask Bret if he thinks he's made the proper adjustments, and if so, what? And of course, he's not going to answer the what part. I get that. I mean, why let the secret out? But I think as a whole, on a macro level, I just want to see if he answers really anything on when it comes to recognizing the importance of the defense having a bounce back season and how integral it is to the success of going to a bowl game next season. After that, at least for Bret, the question that I actually have in mind is we lost Drazon Newton, we lost Keith Randolph, we lost Isaiah Williams from last year's team. I'm curious to know who the next vocal leaders are going to be for the Illini, who are going to be the faces of next year's team. Obviously, we have Gabe Jacas, Seth Coleman, and Pat Bryant representing the team at Media Days, but are those the three guys that he's going to be looking at for leadership roles? Or is it a guy like Matthew Bailey, who we were counting on having a leadership role last year? What about Luke Altmaier? Luke Altmaier is the quarterback and obviously someone who I'm very high on, but he's also noticeably absent at Big Ten Media Days. Is that a cause of concern? I want to know who Bret perceives as being the coaches on the field for next year's team, because those voices are absolutely important. You need coaches on the sidelines, but you also need guys to show some leadership on the field and kind of help more of the younger players have someone to look up to try to mimic and to really learn from. So I'm very curious to know who he thinks is going to be able to take on the leadership void from the previous season. And questions I had not for Bret, which I'm sure everyone's going to be paying attention to, is when Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti goes up on stage. I just want to know what's going on. I don't expect the Big Ten Commissioner to really tell us anything when it comes to the long-term plans of the Big Ten. I'm expecting his speech to be very boring and very by the letter. I don't think he's going to be dropping any nuggets, similar to what the SEC commissioner Greg Sankey did last week. I think he's going to be talking about how strong the conference is and how content they are staying at the 18 teams that we currently have. Obviously, the news for the past week has been, whether Florida State and Clemson are going to be leaving their conferences now. As of Monday, it looks like they are not going to notify the ACC that they're going to be leaving the conference next season. So maybe this whole discussion is going to drag on for another year or two. Not exactly ideal, but it is what it is. Florida State and Clemson need to figure out what they want to do. The back channeling conversations have happened with the Big Ten. Apparently the Big 12 is also interested in making very lucrative offers to the two programs. But until they make the move, the conferences are pretty much at a standstill. There's nothing they can do. Otherwise, they would probably face some sort of legal action from the ACC, and nobody really wants that. And besides that, honestly, I'm just going to soak everything in. Again, that's why I'm asking you to join me on my experience via TikTok. It's going to be my first time experiencing the whole event. I'm going to be able to talk to some of the players afterwards. I can't reiterate this enough. If there's a question you want me to ask, this is your way to get involved with the show. Let me know in the chat what kind of questions that you want asked, and I promise you, I'm going to do my best to get those answers for you. This is a way for you to really get involved with not just a show here, but really the media event that some of you will be watching on the Big Ten Network. I'm excited for it, and I really, really hope that you guys join me for the ride. I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we got fewer games and the sports aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone, every day, all summer long. So head on over to FanDuel.com and start making the most of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Now that Peach Jam is over, the Illini have made a couple new offers out on future prospects. First off, Spencer Ahrens. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. In class of 2025, he's from Wichita, Kansas. He's a 6'9", 210 pounds power forward. I think I mentioned, he's a 3-star. Don't know much about him, but he had a pretty solid Peach Jam tournament, averaging 13 points and 8 rebounds. He seems like a very versatile type of player. And from the scouting reports I'm reading about him, again, I didn't get to watch tape on him in particular, but he looks like he's going to be, the constant term that keeps coming up in all the scouting reports is matchup problem, which, If you remember me saying a couple episodes ago, this is exactly the type of player that Brad Underwood wants. He wants to exploit the defenses with multiple different variations of a lineup. And I think Spencer, while again, not as highly rated as some of the recent guys that Illinois has been offering, there's a chance that he might be a little underrated at the moment. And Brad Underwood and staff might be trying to get in on him before some of the other programs come calling. Someone who isn't underrated is the 2027 guard Cole Kelly, who the Illini also offered a couple days ago. And now I believe it was you, check it out, mentioned in the comment section if that offer was real. Well, Cole himself is one who tweeted it out on Twitter. So I'm assuming that the offer was authentic. I haven't really confirmed with the staff myself, but I'm just going to go ahead and assume that the offer was real. And there's a reason I'm going to be following this particular recruitment closer than others. Cole Kelly goes to Neuqua Valley. Guess who is a graduate of Neuqua Valley? It's silly to think about, monitoring a recruitment for a guy in the 2027 class, but Cole has got game. Now, it's silly to say I'm going to be monitoring the recruitment of a kid who's currently in 8th grade. He hasn't even played high school yet. But 6'6", 190 pounds. He's currently the best player in the state of Illinois. And I know I kind of alluded to this yesterday that I was going to talk about this on today's episode. I'm just going to have to postpone it to tomorrow. For me, this is kind of a preview of what Brad and Orlando are doing. I'm going to address Sleeper Media's video last week where they kind of talked about whether Orlando and Brad are jumping in way too late on some of these 2025 five-star prospects and whether they're just kind of wasting everybody's time. But I assure you that there's a method to this madness. And Cole Kelly is kind of what the ultimate end goal is. So he's a kid to watch. Obviously, there's going to be a bunch of kids that'll be committing way before Cole ever decides to step foot on whichever college campus he chooses to. But hand up, I admit I had a little bias seeing Cole from my high school alma mater get offered by my college alma mater. That's just what kind of makes this whole thing that I do here fun. So I'll kind of keep you guys up to tabs about who we're recruiting. There's a couple other guys who I wanted to spend a little bit more time on, so I'm not just going to briefly mention them here. Maybe I'll do it on a weekend episode or give them a full-fledged segment a little bit later. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day? Have to turn down the volume with all that shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't-miss analysis, opinions, and news, streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you for joining me for another episode of Locked On Illini. If you want to help support the program, all I ask is hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. You guys are doing this wonderfully. I wanted to let you know Monday's episode reached the highest amount of audio downloads that we've ever gotten on the show. So again, we're a little over 8 weeks in. I want to thank you so much for your guys' support. It's your guys' support that's actually giving me the opportunity to be able to be credentialed to go down to Indianapolis and actually, go face to face with some of the highest profile coaches in the country. And so that's why I just want to take a second out and thank you all for giving me this opportunity. Speaking of given opportunities, Bret Bielema made 2 more coaching hires on Monday in analyst roles. Now, analyst roles now are going to be slightly more important than they were in years past because they're going to be able to give on-field instruction, which they weren't before. So these coach hires actually do matter. The 2 new guys will be Dana Dimmel, former UTEP head coach, and Myers Hendrickson, the former head coach at Western Illinois. Dimmel spent 6 seasons at UTEP and went 20-49 overall, while Hendrickson, while leading his alma mater, led them to an 0-22 record as a Leathernecks. But don't let that record fool you. Western Illinois, it really is one of the toughest jobs in America, and one which I think in the very near future will be leveling down in their level of competition. Both coaches did release a statement. Dimmel said, "My family and I are very much looking forward to joining Coach Bielema. He is an outstanding football coach and leader, and I've always admired how his teams play the game. We can't wait to start working with the talented staff to help the program and players reach high levels of success." And Hendrickson said, "I'm extremely excited to join Coach Bielema's staff and Illinois football. I'm grateful for this opportunity to work with such an outstanding staff and group of student athletes. It's an exciting time for Illini football, and I know more big things are ahead for this program under Coach Bielema's leadership. My wife, Hannah, our daughter, Charlotte, and I are excited to be in Champaign and join the family." And finally, Bret Bielema also made a couple comments. "We are so excited to bring Dana and his long history of experiences throughout his career to Illinois. He'll be a great voice and another experienced coach on our staff. Also, I have watched Meyer's entire coaching career continue to grow over the years. He has an incredible amount of success and experiences in a very short window of time. He will work with our defensive staff to forecast future opponents as well as game week prep." Again, usually when you think of analysts, you don't really know if it's really noteworthy, but the fact that these two are two former head coaches at different programs, and the fact that now that with the rule change, that analysts can actually have more of an impact on what we see on the field, I did think it was kind of notable, at least noteworthy enough to let you guys know about the new changes in the staff. That's going to wrap it up for today's episode of Locked On. Again, I apologize. This episode's a little shorter. It's quite honestly because I need to start packing. I've got a long drive to Indianapolis ahead. I really hope you guys join me on the journey at TikTok, and again, I'll leave the link in the description. Do me a favor, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, tell your friends about this channel. Let's get us to 1,000 subs. I think at the time of this recording, we're at like 835. We're only 160 some odd subs away from 1,000. You guys have no idea what kind of milestone that is for such a young channel. What we're really doing here is we're showing the Locked On Podcast Network that there's a lot of passion behind Illini fans, and that we deserve to have all the resources of some of the other channels and to make us one of the most popular ones on YouTube. Having said that, I'm signing off now. Again, please join me at the Big Ten Media Days tomorrow. I'm going to try to film a quick recap while I'm there in the stadium, and then I'll probably try to record an episode once I get back home. I can't make any promises, but we'll see how much energy I have left after what's going to be a very, very long day tomorrow. But either way, I'll keep you guys in check. I'll keep you guys involved, and I will see you from Indianapolis. ILL. Love you guys.